Good afternoon. This is the 35th lecture on basic of wireless sensor networks and applications. This is module 4. So today we are going to see the detailed proof for sensing range and communication range in wireless sensor network. The proof for sensing range within a given coverage area, that will be seen today. So basics of sensing range and communication range we have seen previously in previous two lectures. And finally, we will see what is meant by Voronoi diagram and how the sensors can be placed within the actual coverage area that is to be tracked. So how to place the sensor nodes within that area for perfect coverage by the Voronoi diagram concept. So if you see the topics covered so far, we have seen the Mikamot node, we have seen the basic wireless sensor node, what are the internal subsystems of that. We have seen the topology of wireless sensor network, that is from the activity point, how the data is propagated to the gateway, that is to the sync node, and from sync node to the gateway, and how it goes to the cloud or internet, and how the data propagates to the user who is at a distant location. So that is called topology of wireless sensor network. Then we had started with sensing range and communication range. We have seen the basics of it. What we have found is sensing range is generally small, and communication range is generally bigger than that. And the communication range and sensing range, the relationship is twice of the sensing range should be equal to communication range at least. So communication range can be bigger, but at least twice of sensing range should be equal to communication range. And that is the very basic fundamental we have seen in the last lecture. So today we'll be seeing the proof that if within area ABCD area is given, so how many sensor nodes can be applied so that every point within that ABCD area will be sensed by the different sensor nodes. So what should be the density of sensor nodes within that area so that every point within that area will be covered and no point will be uncovered within the area for sensing. So there is a little bit of formulas involved, little bit of proof involved, so that we will see today. So this is a slide we have been seeing almost in the last three lectures. So the first lecture shows a sensing range. So sensing range is given by capital A, sensing area, and sensing radius is given by small a. And here communication area is given by capital B, and communication radius is given by small b for node N1. And we generally find that area for communication is bigger than the area of sensing. And for SDN, that is software defined network, we can increase or decrease this radius b as per our requirement. So that is the advantage of software defined network. That is, we can increase the communication range of the node antenna. So the power required for transmission, power required for sensing, okay, so those things can be manipulated depending on the application in case of software defined network. But generally, if we are talking about a fixed sensor node, this is having at a certain time sensing radius as small a, sensing area as capital A, and communicating radius as small b, and communicating area as capital B. Now this diagram also we had seen last day. What we had seen was this was the first SN1. This is the radius, sensing radius of node N1. This is the dark circle, and this is another node N2. So this dark circle is the node N2 sensing area. Okay, and this is the base of node N2. That is the sensor node N2. This is the base. So two dark circles are the initial conditions. Okay, and this is the optimal condition, and for this RC, there is a communication range for every sensor node greater than equal to 2 RS. So equal to is the least case. So communication range for all these sensor nodes are to be kept the RC, that should be equal to 2 RS. What is the RS? RS is nothing but the sensing radius of each of this sensor node. Now if this SN2, if the sensor node 2 is shifted leftward, this is given by a dashed circle, you can check. So in that case, what we find is in that case there is a overlapping area. So this is the dashed line and this is the dark line. So this area is overlapped. That means this area is being sensed by both SN1 and SN2, and a redundant message is being transmitted to the base station, which is actually wasting some kind of power, because when this area is being sensed, so this area when it is being sensed by SN1, why SN2 is placed closer to SN1, so that the same message is being transmitted by both SN1 and SN2 to the base station. So there is a wastage of power. Okay, so this SN1 from this base, so for this base at the center, the SN2 is having a dark circle area of sensing. And you can see here there is no overlap area between the SN1 sensed area and SN2 sensed area. So this is the best positioning. So SN1 and SN2 dark circle, they are the best positioning. If you are shifting the SN2 towards left, in that case overlap area is coming, that means redundant information is being transmitted, that is nothing but wastage of power. What happens if SN2 is shifted rightward? That is actually this rightward dashed circle. Okay, in that case you will be finding that this left SN1 area dark circle and this rightmost dashed circle, that is area sensed by SN2, between that there is a space. So this space is not sensed by neither SS1, SN1 nor SN2. Okay, so I'll repeat again. So this dark circle is actually the sensing area of SN2. If it is shifted leftward, in that case there is overlapping area. This area is actually sensed by SN1, SN2 both, so that is actually wastage of power, because same work is being done by both the sensors. So best position for SN2 is this, with the center here exactly above this dashed line. So this base center between these two is called as communication edge RC, and you can find that this distance is RS and this distance is also RS. So from here we are finding that communication edge RC is at least equal to twice of RS. So whatever is proved here, RC, communication distance RC, should be at least twice that of sensing radius RS. This is coming from this diagram only. Okay, so these are the two dark circles. Now if the dark circle is shifted right, that means it is shifted right. In that case you are finding that this base is actually shifted here. SN2 base means the center. In that case you are finding there is an area that is between this dark circle and between this dashed circle. So there is an area between this SN1 and SN2 which is not sensed by any of the sensor nodes. That means in between this whole area, bigger area, this is a place which is not sensed neither by SN2 nor by SN1. So this kind of thing should not happen in case of any wireless sensor network. In case of WSN, what we should find is every point within a coverage area should be sensed by at least one sensor. If it is more than two sensors, it is okay. Redundant information is okay. Okay, for some area 3-4 sensor nodes are sensing the same area, it is okay, redundant information. But some area is not at all sensed. This is a scary situation. This must not happen. Okay, so what we are finding is this is the best scenario for SN2. For this position of SN1, let us say SN1 is fixed and SN2 is moving. So this is the best scenario for SN2, that is RC is equal to 2RS. This is the best scenario. This dark circle is the best position for SN2. SN2 is shifted leftward, so the base or the center has come here. This is causing overlap, but this is acceptable. This is wasting power, but there is no area which is not sensed. But SN2 is shifted rightward. Now SN2 base comes here, and there is a big area between sensing range of SN1 and SN2 which is not sensed. This is not acceptable. So best case, okay case, okay, it can go, but this is not acceptable. That SN2 is shifted rightward. So this this explanation is given here, that WSN comprises large number of sensor nodes. SN stands for sensor node. Main objective of the sensor node is to monitor a physical quantity within a given area. Sensor node density should be adequate to cover the measurement over full area. That means there should not be any point within the area which is not sensed. Node should be placed in such a way that it does not leave any void or unattended area or unsensed region within the area. Okay, that is what is happening. If the SN2 is shifted in the rightward direction, this you are finding that this dashed circle, okay, this is creating some unattended area in between SN1 and SN2 region. Okay, that should not happen. Two adjacent sensor nodes should be such placed that there is no overlapping, nor any area should be uncovered as shown in the figure below. So this dashed line is this leftward dashed line is creating overlapping area, wasting power, creating redundant information. We are wasting resource because it's a bandwidth constant network. And this dashed circle rightward, this is creating void in between. So both these are bad choices. Centralized dark line for SN2 area, this is the best. So as the sensor data is to be sent to a nearby central location or base station or data sync node, it is necessary to adjust the transmitting power of the transmitter so that SN1 can transfer data to SN2 and vice versa. So what will happen is, suppose SN1 is sensing some data, SN1 can send it up to this point, and that data will take another hop. So this SN1 to SN2 is the hop. So SN1 transmitting power will make the data reach at this point, and SN2 will be able to sense it from this point. Okay, so whatever data SN wants to send, it will be able to send it to this, or this thing will sense it from here. Or if the communication range is RC, directly SN1 can send the data to SN2 base station. Yeah, that's why this is a justification, that is RC minimum should be 2 RS. So communication distance RC should be twice, at least twice that of sensing radius RS. Now sensing and communication range. So there is a proof that we had been talking about. I'm starting it now. For this proof, all the initial conditions you have to tell first, and then you have to go for the proof. So transmission between adjacent sensor nodes feasible only when at least one sensor node is within the communication range of each SN, each sensor node. That means if there are two nodes like this, if there are two nodes, so this SN1 is actually sensing data within this dark circle. Okay, and it wants to forward this sense data to some base station which is there at the right side somewhere here. Okay, so within this sensor node communication range, what is the communication radius? Communication radius is from here to here. Okay, so this RS is the sensing radius, and RC is nothing but 2 RS is the communication radius. So there will be a bigger circle like this, okay, with communication radius RC. So what the first line says here, is one sensor. So if SN1 wants to transmit the data to the base station, in that case this SN1 should be having at least one sensor within its communication range. Is it there? It is there. So if you are finding that this SN2, if it is placed here, this dark circle, SN2 is at within the communication range of SN1. In that case, this SN1 will relay the sense data to SN2. And again, there will be another sensor node SN3 here, okay, which will be starting from here and circle like this. So SN2 again will relay it to SN3, and likewise it will go on. So what it says is, transmission between adjacent sensor nodes SN is feasible only when at least one sensor node is within the communication range of the SN1. So whatever SN1 is there, it is sensing data within the distance of RC from the center. At least another node should be there. Okay, that's why from SN1 center to SN2 center, the distance is RC. So the criteria is within the RC distance from SN1 base, at least another sensor node should be there in the direction of base station. Not just the sensing coverage, or not just the sensing radius, but the communication connectivity RC. So these are two different names. RS is we called as sensing radius, RC is called as communication radius, or otherwise RS is called as sensing coverage and RC is called as communication coverage. So instead of radius, we are calling as coverage or connectivity. So not just the sensing coverage, but the communication connectivity is equally important, so that the sensor data could be received successfully by an adjacent receiver. So it is not only about RS, it is not only about sensing. So after sensing, sensor node cannot accumulate the data. After sensing, the sensor node has to propagate the data, and to propagate the data, it has to have a communication range RC, and generally we are keeping RC equal to or at least 2 RS, or RC can be greater than 2 RS. So this is a scenario. So if asked in the exam, you can draw exactly this diagram, or you can draw your diagram with less number of sensor nodes. But number of sensor nodes are not very important, except the first line. So you can find here, this is the ABCD area. ABCD area is to be sensed. Okay. by how many sensor nodes we have put. Now each of the sensor node, each of the WSN nodes, so we have discussed about the WSN nodes at the initial part of this lecture, in the lecture number 31 or so, or 32 maybe. So what we are finding is each of the sensor node is having sensing range of RS. Okay, so this is the area for radius RS, that means pi RS square. So this area is pi RS square. So you can find there are 9, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So there are 9 sensor nodes we have placed. So this is one sensor node, two sensor node, three sensor node, 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. There are 9 sensor nodes we have put, and you can check there are no position within this ABCD area which is not sensed. Can you find any area which is not sensed by any of the sensors? There are none. Any area you can check, any area. Yeah, check this area, this point, check this area. So this area is covered by this sensor node, this sensor node. Okay, this area is sensed. So whatever is the data here, that is coming at this sensor. Now this area is sensed by this sensor node, as well as this area is sensed by this sensor node. So every area will be finding. Now what is this 3 here? So there is a 3 written here. What is this 3? That means this area is actually sensed by 3 sensor nodes. That means 3 times overlap has occurred. That means 3 times redundant information is being transmitted, and whatever energy used for sensing and communication of redundant information, that is actually a waste here, because this area is being sensed by 3 sensor nodes. Why 2 written here? Because this area whatever is shown here is sensed by 2 sensor nodes. Okay, with this 1, why 1 written here? Because this area within the ABCD is being sensed by 1 sensor node. So number of 3's should be as less as possible, number of 2 should be as less as possible. So we have to adjust the sensor nodes in such a way, you have to place the sensor nodes in such a way. So this is a sensor node which you can check is placed actually outside the area, outside the ABCD area. Okay, so this place sensor node which is placed outside the area, it is also helping sensing this part of the area. Okay, so this part was left. So if this sensor node was not there, this part could have been unattended, this one part just below the C. So this sensor node, whatever is here, this sensor node is actually responsible for sensing mainly this part, otherwise you check this part is sensed by 2 sensor nodes. So even if this node was not there, this part could have been sensed by this sensor node. Okay, this part is sensed by 3 sensor nodes. So one is this is sensing this part, one is this is sensing this part, and another is this sensor node is sensing this part. Okay, but if this sensor node was not there, this area could have been left unattended. So we should not place sensor node in such a way that some area is unattended within the network. It should not happen. Okay, now you cannot show me any point or any area within this whole ABCD. So ABCD is a kind of a rectangular kind of area. Within ABCD, there are no portion which is not tracked or which is not sensed by any sensor node. It will not happen. It is not happening. You can check here. And suppose this area, suppose this information is first sensed by this node, and now this distance should be at least 2 of RS. This distance should be equal to RC. So after sensing this area information, suppose these are all temperature sensor, after sensing this temperature, this sensor node will send the data here, and after that this distance, okay, so this is actually less than RC. So this sensor node will send this temperature data taken from here to this sensor node, and this sensor node is having a bigger communication range. It will send it to the base station, and at base station aggregation occurs. All the data that is coming from different positions of the area ABCD, temperature data at different position of ABCD, all the data is being aggregated at the base station. And each of this sensor node is having the location information. So it is not only the data that it is sending, but it is sending the data with location information. So this node is closer to point D, this node and this node and this node, they are closer to point C. And with respect to base station, all these nodes are having its own specific data point. Okay, either you do it by GIS or you do it by some local referencing. Okay, but it is there. Okay, so every sensor node position, and with position what is the sense data, both are sent to the base station. And base station knows this ABCD. So base station doesn't know ABCD area, but base station gets to know the ABCD area by means of all this 9 different sensor nodes. Okay, so base station doesn't know this area, but base station knows that this sensor node is actually sensing the area which is a corner of the ABCD area. Okay, so whatever is the temperature within this region, whatever is the average temperature within this region, that is actually the temperature towards the D point of the concerned area. So likewise, attribute based measurement and attribute based sensing occurs in case of wireless sensor network. So now after this explanation, data from, so just let us go through, so not just sensing coverage but also communication connectivity. So what is sensing coverage? If you check this area, so we are not interested about this area because this is beyond the area of concern. Okay, so this area sensed, no point. Okay, but this area is the area of concern because this area is sensing within ABCD. So ABCD is our area of concern. Okay, and this is the sensing range of this sensor node which is kept here, and this data actually this data is sent to the this sensor node, or this data is again relayed to this sensor node, and this sensor node is sending the data to the base station. So this data goes to the base station with 1, 2 and 3 hop. Okay, likewise. And if you are talking about this corner data, this area, okay, so this area is first sent to this 1 hop, then 2 hop, then 3 hop, and then 4 hop. So the area closer to point B, corner B, sensed by this sensor node with 4 hop, it can go to the base station. Or let's see if it can be less. So 1 hop, 2 hop, and 3 hop. So if it is following this route, that is B data from here to here, this distance is less than RC. Then this from here to here, this distance is also less than RC to RS, and then third hop. Okay, so within 3 hop, this B point data can reach to the base station. Or if it is going reroute this path, then it will take 4 data. So depending on Dijkstra algorithm, or depending on the QoS you want to apply, depending on the node energy availability, or depending on the maybe less traffic in the path, the B data will reach the base station either with 3 hops or with 4 hops. So it depends what kind of protocol, what kind of QoS and all those things we are trying to apply. So data from a single sensor node is not adequate to make any useful decision. This is a very important line. Wireless sensor network is always a collaborative kind of a thing. So one sensor node is sensing some data, and it is sit with the data. That is not expected, or that is not accepted. So every sensor node is supposed to make adequate decision that through which path it will send the data to the base station. Data needed to be collected from a set of sensor nodes to arrive at an intelligent interpretation. So interpretation of data, sending of data, routing data to the base station, all these things are done in a collaborative data fusion fashion. And this requires some kind of intelligence embedded in the sensor node, wireless sensor node. So for larger coverage area, adequate number of sensor node, each within a circular sensing range, should be needed to be placed throughout the area. So in this case, for ABCD area, we have placed 9 sensor nodes. Each sensor node is having communication radius of RS. Okay. If the ABCD area becomes bigger, in that case, maybe we have to place 50 sensor nodes. Okay. So likewise, it goes on. So for larger coverage area, adequate number of sensor node, each with circular sensing range, should be needed to be placed throughout the area. No corner within the coverage area is left. Okay, overlapping is allowed. So you can check here, the corner D is sensed by this sensor, corner A is sensed by this sensor as well as this sensor, corner C is sensed by this sensor, which is actually placed outside the sensing area, but we are placing it typically for sensing this corner. Okay, corner B is sensed by this sensor likewise. This is a very important thing. No corner, even not a single corner, not any area within the sensor node should be left for sensing. Overlapping is allowed, but too much overlapping we should be able to avoid, because more is the overlapping, more is the energy wasted to sense the area. So in that case, we are actually reducing the network lifetime unnecessarily. So redundancy must be avoided. Now the same diagram is shown here. Okay, now let us understand what is the sensing range and communication range. So how much should be the minimum count of sensor nodes that is required for any ABCD area? So how many minimum sensor nodes with communication radius RC with sensing range RS we have to deploy, so that every position or every point within the sensor node will be covered. This is the proof. Okay, so real question is how far the sensor nodes can be placed from each other, and even then they should be able to sense the whole area. This is the question, and there is a small proof. There are some 3-4 equations that we have to see. So this is the area here. To cover ABCD area with the RS is the sensing range, we require 9 sensor nodes. And this 9, you can say, we have placed, we have done by some kind of just by placing sensor nodes, we have checked that okay, if this is the sensing radius RS, then with 9 sensor node we can cover the whole area. But there is a certain formula for that, because if we know how much is the RS, if we know how much is the area of ABCD, then we can just find out how much should be the node density within that ABCD area. So there is a small proof, we are going to do that. So real question is how far, that means what should be the distance between each node. So how far the sensor nodes can be placed from each other, and even then also the whole area is sensed. This is our optimization criteria, that minimum number of sensor nodes has to be placed, and that should do maximum coverage. So you can say, suppose policeman, if there is an area to be checked by all the policemen, so each policeman is a sensor. Now how many, each every policeman is having the its own area of coverage, or in its area of intelligence. So a policeman has to track this much area, a policeman has to keep rule law and order within this area. So how many policemen minimum I can keep, so that this whole ABCD area will be at peace. So overlap is occurred, and overlap is allowed. So in this case, I can find that if I apply 9 policemen, that will cover the whole ABCD area. But there is a formula for that, and that formula is a very simple formula. We are going to prove that. So real question is how far the sensor nodes can be placed from each other, and even then also the whole area is sensed. So 1, 2, 3 in the figure is the number of sensor sensing that particular area. So over 1, 2, 3 is nothing but overlap. So in one position, if 3 is written, means this area is being sensed by 3 sensor nodes. So there is overlapping. So this figure is a random deployment and definitely not an optimal or strategic sensor placement policy. So here, whatever 9 sensor nodes I have placed them in hurry. So this is not a optimal placement criteria. Optimal placement criteria means minimum number of sensor, and then also the whole area is covered. So whatever is shown here, you can argue, sir, this is not the best. Okay, I accept this is not the best, but at least this covers the whole area. But yes, somebody plays it judicially, somebody thinks properly, and maybe with 5 or 6 sensor nodes, the whole ABCD area can be covered. Okay, so this is not a optimal placement. If n sensor nodes are put in area A, okay, n sensor nodes with obviously the sensing ranges RS. If n sensor nodes are put in area A, then sensor node density. So this is what we are going to prove finally. How much should be the lambda S for optimal or strategic sensor node position? So if n sensor nodes, so n can be A, then sensor node density lambda is equal to n by A. So n by A is nothing but ABCD area square meter divided by 9. So each sensor is sensing how much area? Each sensor is sensing ABCD divided by 9. But you can check here, this is the area outside. This is the area which is not required to be sensed. Okay, whatever this sensor node is doing. Okay, so there is a wastage. This is also an area which is not required to be sensed. This is an area which is not required to be sensed. Okay, this below this AB line and right side of this CD line, whatever area you are finding the sensor nodes are sensing, these are the areas which are not required to be sensed. Okay, so if I'm pushing this A B node little bit inward somewhere here, then also this point will be covered. So in that case, we will be having a optimal placement of sensor. So that is what we are supposed to find out, that what is the proof that with RS radius for ABCD area, how much is the minimum number of sensor nodes with which we can cover the whole area. And it is not only the coverage, but the hop distance also has to be checked. So it is not only about sensing, it is about communicating the data to base station also. So it is sensing as well as this other communication range between any two center nodes, okay, any two node center. So this communication range also has to satisfy the criteria, that is RC should be greater than equal to at least 2 RS. Okay. So all this we have to check. Now we are starting the proof. So what we are supposed to find out is lambda s, that is capital N by A, that is ABCD by 9. We are supposed to find out what is the optimal value for lambda s. And what should be the sensor node density? That is nothing but area divided by number of nodes. If the sensor nodes are uniformly distributed with the density lambda s, uniformly distributed, that means they are not very close, they are not very far. So distance between each and every node is kind of the same. In that case, it is called uniform distribution. In that case, the density is lambda s. Then disk shape covered by one single node. So RS is the sensing range. RS is the sensing range. So one area is nothing but pi RS square. So that is what is said by disk shape covered by a single sensor node, that is sensed area alpha is equal to pi RS square. Okay. So if I am saying that ABCD is the area, how many sensor nodes are required? ABCD divided by pi RS square. Straight away you can say that. Okay. So if total area is ABCD, optimal placement is ABCD divided by pi RS square. So disk shape covered by a single sensor node is equal to sensed area alpha is equal to pi RS square. Is located within a sensing range, that is equal to alpha by A. Okay, so pi RS square is the area of one sensor sensing range, and capital A is the overall sensing range or overall area to be sensed. That means pi RS square by A. That means the sensed area divided by the coverage area. That is the probability. Okay, so probability that any point is located within a sensing range of Sn is equal to alpha by A. Okay, suppose let's say pi RS square is equal to 2 square meter and the whole area is 4 square meter. So if such a disk is located within the 4 square meter area, that means any point, the probability that this point falls within that sensed range is 2 divided by 4. That means 50%, because one disk area is 2 square meter and the overall area to be sensed is 4 square meter. In that case, any point, okay, it can be inside the sensing disk, it can be outside the sensing disk. So what is the probability that that point is within the sensing disk? It is 2 divided by 4. It is that means it is 0.5. So probability that any point is located within a sensing range of Sn is alpha by A. This is pi RS square by A. Probability that any point is not located within one sensing range. So if this is the probability of any point being within the node, that is given by alpha by A, and we know that addition of all probabilities is equal to 1. So if this alpha by A is equal to, let's say, 0.6, okay, that means what is the chance that any point is not within that sensed range? That is 1 minus 0.6, that will be 0.4. So more is the more is the probability that any point is located within sensing range. If that thing keeps on increasing, in that case not located will keep on decreasing. So if any point, if we find that pi RS square divided by A, it becomes 0.8. That means any point located within the sensing range is 0.8. In that case, any point located not within the sensing range will be 1 minus 0.8, that is 0.2. Okay, so these two line together should be equal to 1. So sensed range probability alpha by A, if it is 0.8, unsensed range probability is 1 minus 0.8 is 0.2. So that is when one sensor is placed within the area. If there are capital N such sensor nodes, in that case what will be the probability that any point is not within the sensed range? So that is the next thing. So probability that any point is not located within any N sensor nodes sensing range, that will be 1 minus alpha by A raised to N. So in this case there are 9 sensor nodes. So if I ask you that what is the probability that any point is not placed within any of the sensor node sensing area, What is the probability of that? It is 1 minus alpha. Alpha is nothing but pi r square. Alpha by A is nothing but the ABCD area, raised to 9, the whole raised to 9. So any point located within sensing range is alpha by A, pi r square by A. RS is the sensing range, pi r square is the disk area, capital A is the area ABCD. Probability that any point is not located within that sensing range, 1 minus alpha by A. Probability that any point is not located within capital N sensing range is 1 minus alpha by A raised to N. Last line, put 1 by A is equal to lambda s by N. So from here you can find out lambda s is equal to N by A. Okay, in that case 1 by A is nothing but equal to lambda s by N. So in this equation 1 by A, just put lambda s by A. Okay, so 1 by A is equal to put lambda s by N. So that is what they're saying, put 1 by A. So from here it is coming. Okay, so just take N below to this lambda s. So you'll be finding that 1 by A is equal to lambda s by N. So in this formula, 1 minus alpha into 1 by A. So instead of 1 by A, put lambda s by N. Put 1 by A is equal to lambda n by N. In the not located probability becomes 1 minus alpha into lambda s divided by N, the whole thing raised to capital N. So capital N is nothing but the number of sensor nodes put within that area to sense or to cover the whole area of ABCD. So these are the declarations you have to write very properly. Pi r square is nothing but the disk area, rs is nothing but sensing range. So alpha by A, that is pi r square by A, is the probability that any point is located within the sensing area. 1 minus alpha by A, that is 1 minus pi r square by A, is a probability that any point is not sensed. Okay, and this should be equal to 0. Okay, the probability that any point is not located within the sensing range when the sensing range is having capital N sensor nodes, that is 1 minus alpha by A raised to capital N. And last line, substitute 1 by A, that is equal to lambda s divided by N. What is lambda s? Lambda s is nothing but the overall area. Actually here it should be lambda s should be A divided by N. Okay, so that is what. Now what we are finding is after this slide, next. So put 1 by A is equal to lambda s by N. So we have seen already in the previous slide, there is lambda s is equal to N by A, and the unsensed probability becomes 1 minus lambda by A raised to N. Substitute 1 by A is equal to lambda s by N. So you are finding this. Okay, so this formula you have to remember. Now for sensing area A tends to infinity. So if I am saying that it's a huge area, ABCD is a huge area that I am supposed to sense. In that case, this probability becomes, so take exponential in both the sides, e raised to minus alpha. What is alpha? Pi r square. What is lambda s? Lambda s is nothing but, in the previous slide you can find lambda s is nothing but N by A. Okay, so lambda s is N by A, alpha is pi r square, e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s. So if I tell you what is RS, what is the sensing range, if I tell you how many sensor nodes I want to deploy, that is capital N, and if I tell you how much is the area of concern, that is capital A, you can find this probability very easily. Okay, so e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s, where lambda s is given by N by A. Okay, N is number of sensor nodes to be deployed, capital A is the area of interest. So this is the fraction of area not covered by capital N sensing nodes. So this thing you should be able to calculate. Okay, e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s. Lambda is equal to N by A. So N is number of sensor nodes deployed. So less is the number of sensor node deployed. Let's say lambda is equal to lambda s is equal to N by A, and N is equal to 0. You are not deploying any sensor nodes within the area. So if this is 0, e raised to 0 is equal to 1. So for sensing range A tends to infinity, this probability becomes this. So A, when there is no sensor deployed, this area becomes 1. That means all the nodes are, no area is sensed by the sensor node. Now this is the fraction of area not covered. So if this is becoming 1 means the whole area is not covered. If this area becomes 0.3, if this area, so this probability, whatever is shown here, if this probability becomes 0.3, That means 70% area of capital A is covered and 30% area is not covered. Okay, so I'll tell you again, if n you are putting a 0, that means lambda s becomes 0. N means you are not putting any sensor within this area to sense. So n is equal to 0, lambda is equal to 0. If lambda is equal to 0, that means e raised to 0. E raised to 0 is equal to 1. That means this is the fraction of area not covered by n sensing nodes is equal to 1. That means 100% area is not covered. How can it be covered? Because you have not deployed any sensor node. Likewise. So hence the fraction of area covered. So e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s is the area probability that area is not covered. And 1 minus this as shown here. So the fraction of area which is covered by n sensor nodes Fa is 1 minus e raised to this, because total probability covered plus uncovered is equal to 1. So if this is the probability of uncovered, 1 minus uncovered is equal to covered. So Fa is equal to 1 minus e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s. So the required sensor density, okay, so Fa is the fraction which is covered probability. So the final line, the required sensor density for coverage of every point within the area is given by lambda is equal to ln 1 minus Fa, okay, because this is 1 minus Fa, likewise divided by pi r square. So this formula you have to remember, this formula, that is lambda s is equal to ln 1 minus Fa divided by pi r square, and there is a negative here. Okay, so this Fa is a probability thing, so this will become in decimal. Okay, whenever you are taking the logarithm of decimal, you will get a negative. So that negative and this negative will become positive. So lambda s also will become positive. Now there is a final slide, I think, before we are going to Voronoi diagram, that is sensing and communication range. So this sensing model is known as Boolean sensing model, as any event occurring outside the sensing radius Rs is assumed to be unknown. That means whatever is happening at this area which is outside the ABCD coverage area, we are not interested about this. We don't want to know it. Okay. So the probability that the area to be monitored is covered by at least one sensor is given by F1 covered 1 minus F0. There is 1 minus e raised to minus lambda s. And F0 is the probability of coverage by 0 sensor. In many situations, an event need to be sensed by at least k number of close sensor nodes. So for one sensor node, what is the cover probability? 1 minus e raised to minus lambda s. What is lambda s? N by a. So n in that case will be equal to 1. So this will be 1 minus e raised to minus 1 by a. That's all. F0 is probability of coverage by 0 sensor. In many situations, an event need to be sensed by k sensors. So in that case, the concurrent sensing by k sensor nodes covers the function fraction of area. K covered is 1 minus m to 0 k minus 1 fm. So 1 minus m is equal to 0 to k minus 1 m factorial lambda s e raised to minus lambda s. So lambda is nothing but n by a. Okay, so this is just an extended version of things. So if there are k sensor nodes which are covering the fraction of area, so if k covered is given by this. Otherwise, what is the sensor density coverage every point within the area? If we are telling up to lambda s, this ends the proof. And if you are telling these two lines, directly you can come to this line. This will be the last line. Now there is something called as randomly placed sensor nodes by Voronoi diagram. So what is Voronoi diagram? Sensing and communication range. It is another way to determine the area to be covered by each sensor node. So one area is given, and the area is automatically. So these divisions are not done. So these divisions are done randomly. Now, if you are doing this kind of random division, how the sensor node is to be placed? This is given by Voronoi diagram, which is actually a convex polygon rule. So this is a polygon. This is a polygon. Okay, so this is a polygon kind of a thing. Voronoi diagram says that. So first, suppose this is the area, this abrupt area, random area, and you have placed one sensor node you have placed. Okay, how to place the other sensor node? Now, what you have to do is you have to just check what is the perpendicular distance from this line to this line. This much is the perpendicular distance. Put another sensor node exactly the same with the same perpendicular distance. So whatever is the perpendicular distance here, other sensor node has to be placed exactly on the same line and with the equal perpendicular distance. Likewise, Okay, now you are making this another polygon. So this whatever is the distance of this sensor, another sensor has to be put exactly at this. So this distance is equal to this distance. Likewise, okay, and whatever another polygon is here. Okay, another polygon is here. So whatever is this distance, whatever is this distance will be same. This distance will be same. Then you make another polygon. So draw this line later, and whatever is this distance, okay, and the another distance should be like this. And this should be like this. Likewise, you just keep on covering the whole area. So whatever they are showing, if this is the sensor one node, so this sensor node you have placed initially, how could you do that? So first from here to here, whatever is the distance, from here to here, distance is the same, because you just draw this line, and then you can draw this line, you can draw this line. So afterward like this, and after placing this, you just check, you draw another line. Okay, so now you have to check whether this sensor node senses all this area or not. Okay, so this area, so from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, this distances should be less than rs. Okay, so likewise, this sensor node is sensing the whole area. Okay, now you have to draw this line, and after that, whatever is the distance like this another sensor has to be placed just other than this, and this sensor should be having sensing range rs, and this distance from here to the corner, from here to the corner, this distance should be less than rs. Okay, and now from here, and you draw a line, you draw a line like this, and it take the line from here. So this distance is equal to this distance, same as this distance. So this is actually the Voronoi diagram. And likewise with different polygons, you have to cover the whole area. So it is another way to determine the area to be covered by each sensor node. Basic idea is to partition the whole area. So this partitioning we have to do on our own, and this partitioning requires some kind of expertise. So basic idea is to partition the whole area into a set of convex polygons so that all the polygon edges are equidistant from neighboring sensors. So you can check that this distance is same as this. So this distance, okay, this distance. Okay, so this is half and this is half, and this is half and this is another half. So this distance is same as this distance. So likewise, you have to go forward. This distance is same as this. So it should be a little up this side. Likewise. Yes, while you are drawing in the exam, you have to do correctly. So just check this distance is this. So whatever perpendicular you are drawing here, this distance should be same. And after that, this distance should be equal to this. And then this distance should be equal to this distance. Likewise. And from here to here, whatever is the distance, from here to here, the same distance should be maintained. So likewise, we said that the basic idea is to partition the whole area into a set of convex polygons so that all the polygon edges are equidistant from the neighboring sensor. Proposed by Orenhammer in the year of 1991. So line AB is drawn in the figure in such a way that it is having equal distance of x. So from S1 and S2, how S1 and S2 are placed? Okay, so if from here to here this distance is same as this one, so first you have placed S1, you don't know how to place S2, so just find out from here to here how much is the distance. So from S1 to this polygon side, how much is the distance? It is x. Now from here, this point, you can take another distance of x and place the polygon S2. So either you can do it here at this side, or you can do it at here at this side. It's up to you. Okay, why didn't we do at this side? Because in that case this area would have been very big. Okay, that's why it is better you do it at this side. So this distance x and this distance x should be same. So this is actually the point x2. So line AB is drawn in the figure in such a way that it is equal distance x from two adjacent sensors S1 and S2. This process is repeated till all such equidistant lines are drawn from all the adjacent pairs of sensor nodes. So actually initially all the sensor nodes are placed and then the lines are drawn. I was actually telling you the reverse process. So this process is repeated till all the equidistant lines are drawn for all adjacent pairs of sensor nodes. It is easier to let each sensor node sense the area covered by its surrounding polygon. That means this sensor node will be responsible for sensing anything within this polygon. So this polygon is actually sensed by this sensor node, and you have to make sure that the highest distance, so that is this distance, is less than rs, or this distance is less than rs. Now you can check here. So this sensor nodes was initially, so this sensor nodes, this side of the area, you can find that the sensor node density is less. Okay, because we most of the time we spray the sensors. We don't go and put the sensors there. We just spray the sensors within the area of interest. And after spraying, you are finding that yes, at this side, the node density has become very less. Okay, so in this case, this side, whatever polygon you are lines you are marking after the sensor nodes are placed, so in that case the polygons will be bigger, because sparse or very far sensor nodes are placed or automatically got deployed at this side. So at this side the polygon will be having bigger area, whereas you can check this side at this point towards the center region, the number of sensor counts are very high. That means whatever polygon or area to be watched by every sensor node in this area. Okay, so every area will become very small in this case, because automatically during deployment, number of sensor nodes that have randomly come at this area, it has become a large number. Okay, so this process is repeated till all the such equidistant lines are drawn for all the adjacent pairs of sensor nodes. It is easier to let each sensor sense the area covered by its surrounding polygon, and then the maximum distance is to be covered by a sensor node in the polygon will govern minimum required sensing range. That means I told you that whatever is the maximum range. So if you take this sensor, so after you are putting all this sensor nodes, then polygons are drawn. So what is the maximum distance this sensor is going to sense? It is this distance from here to here. Okay, this is the biggest distance it is sensing, and we know that this distance should be less than RS. Okay, likewise, if you check this sensor node, okay, it is sensing this distance, it is sensing this distance. Okay, so all this bigger distance should be less than its own sensing range RS. So that we have to ensure. So from sensor node to any of the corner, the distance should not be greater than RS. RS, that is the sensing range of the sensor nodes. In that case, there will remain some blind spot. What is meant by blind spot? The point which is not sensed by a sensor node within the area. It is called as a blind spot. Okay, so it is very important. It is easier to let each sensor sense the area covered by its own surrounding polygon, and the maximum distance is to be covered by a sensor node in a polygon will govern the minimum required sensing range, which is RS. Maximum range for wireless transmission is determined by max distance between a pair of sensor nodes. So you can check here, this to this sensor node, this pair is biggest, having biggest communication range. Okay, so for this whole area, the communication range, minimum communication range should be from here to here. You won't find any pair who is having bigger communication range than this, or bigger range than the distance between these two sensors. Okay, so max range for wireless transmission is determined by the max distance between a pair of sensor nodes. So you have to find out what is the max distance between any pair, and I think this is the max distance between any pair. You can sense from here to here, but this is not pair. Okay, just adjacent pair. So this is this. So if you, this sensor node wants to send data here, it will route through this and this. Okay, so this sensor is not going to send data directly to this sensor. This sensor will route here, and this node will route here. Okay, so this cannot be the maximum range. Adjacent nodes you have to check. So this distance or this distance, I think this is the highest distance between any two sensor nodes. So this distance is the minimum communication range that you can keep. So maximum range of wireless transmission, or this is actually maximum range of transmission, is determined by max distance between a pair of sensor nodes. Drawing the Voronoi diagram is a complex process, and many set of rules are proposed for it. So you can check this thing in Wikipedia, and you can check it in the book that we are referring. So many such rules for Voronoi diagram you can find. So this question will be asked for 5 marks, and you have to write some set of rules for a Voronoi diagram, and not necessarily you have to draw this diagram. You can take a smaller rectangle, and you can explain what is sensing range and communication range. So this was today's lecture. So what we have seen, mainly initially we have seen what is sensing range and communication range, and we have discussed with this SN2, if it is shifted leftward, if it is shifted rightward, how it can change the communication distance. Then for a certain area ABCD, we have found out how much will be the number of sensors deployed so that every point within the network will be covered. So for this case, we have found that if we are putting 9 sensor nodes, in that case the whole area will be covered. In that case, we are supposed to find out lambda s. Lambda s is equal to n by a. So actually it should be 9 divided by abcd. I'm sorry, I'll check this, I'll correct it when I'm uploading this thing in the your Google Classroom. Okay, so lambda s is the main thing we are supposed to find out. This is actually the sensor density. So if for any area A we are deploying n number of sensors, lambda s is n by a. Now we have to find out whether that lambda s is sufficient or not. So how to prove that? For that, we are supposed to find out how many sensor nodes are deployed and what is the area covered by each of the sensor node. So if rs is the disk, or rs is the communication sensing range, in that case pi rs square is the area sensed by that sensor. So in that case, area sensed is pi r square divided by a. Area not sensed by one sensor is 1 minus pi r square divided by a. And area not sensed by capital N sensor is given by 1 minus pi r square divided by a raised to n. Okay, likewise, and then we are substituting 1 by a as lambda s by n. So this is the heart of this last line is the heart of this proof. So put 1 by a as lambda s by n in above, and we are finding that not located probability, that means in any area not sensed by any of the capital N sensors, is given by 1 minus alpha divided by lambda s divided by n. Alpha into lambda s by n. So in this case, we are finding e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s. Lambda s is equal to n by a, as given in the previous slide. Okay, so this is the probability of any point not being sensed by capital N sensors. Okay, so what is the area covered by capital N sensors probability? That is 1 minus e raised to minus pi r square into lambda s. So with that, we are finding that lambda s is given by minus ln 1 minus fa divided by pi r square, and f covered, fk covered. So what is the probability that if there are k number of sensor nodes, how much area they are covering within the sensor node? That is given by 1 minus m is equal to 0, k minus 1, lambda s by m factorial e raised to minus lambda s. And finally, we are finding the Voronoi diagram and what is the logic behind dividing the whole area into different polygons that will be sensed by all the deployed sensor nodes. I prepare a short note on sensing and communication range by Voronoi diagram. I stop here. Thank you.